My name is Miles McDonald. I'm going to tell you, I guess everyone, the story behind my e-bike this semester. So I go to college in Rexburg, Idaho. The college is called BYU Idaho, and it's got really cheap tuition, really wonderful professors, and it's kind of unique in it's practically so the town of Rexburg is practically it's like a farm town that like in the middle of nowhere that has a humongous university complex like right there in the middle, or not complex, you know what I mean. A whole big university is smack dab in the middle, and then everyone's trying to work with it. So there are some major problems that are kind of, can't do much about. It's just a slow process for a lot of them. Housing is a problem. Parking is a problem. And just what it was a small town. There are some regulatory things. Long story short, Walmart is on the outskirts of the town, along with Wendy's and other things, just like where the highway entrance is, on both sides of the town. So that's a bit about Rexburg. Now, the next part is I'm going to talk about my plan. Okay, so, actually, first I need to talk about where I am in school. So I've been going to college here for quite a while, a few years, and I'm almost done. If things go well this semester, then I will graduate at the end of next semester in April, which is nice. Seeing how this school has a 3-track semester system, where basically it's 3 semesters per year. The timing's kind of funny because sometimes that means when everyone is going back to school, that's the beginning of my summer break, and it's just kind of interesting. So it's like I never get summer deals or anything, but it's been good. It saves money, and it's been awesome. So yeah, so that's a bit about where I am. This semester, so required for my major, is I have to do an internship. And I was going to do that maybe next semester, but I got a wonderful opportunity here to get an internship at a card making company. I'm basically going to be helping people work on the machines, or I have been. Just been helping people work on the machines for cutting cards and putting foil on them, so when your card is kind of shiny and part of it, that's, and when it's cut the right shape and stuff, that's basically, I'm over those people that are doing that, and I help them troubleshoot, and it's been a wonderful experience, and I'm very fortunate to have it. Now, so that's where I've been this semester, but that's the surface stuff. Let's go a little deeper. So I have personal issues I'm not going to mention online, but I've got my own things that, everyone's got their own challenges and struggles, and mine have made me pretty depressed, and that's stuff I've been working with my doctor and therapists, and I've been working on, but it's a long struggle for me. Now with that out of the way, let's introduce my plan. So before the semester started, I knew that I would have to move. Oh, right. There's this new rule that they came out with a couple semesters ago that became effective at the beginning of this semester, winter semester, 2025. Now this rule, I don't know all the reasons behind it, and I'm not going to get into all the logistics of it. And this is not what this video is about. So please don't talk about it in the comments. That's not what this is for. What the rule is all students that live in BYU approved student housing, if they were 26 or older, then they were going to have to move out of that and move into some of the community housing, or get married or whatever and go in the married housing, basically they were expecting like 1,500 or 1,000 or something, just some outrageous number of new students coming in. I don't know how they knew this, but they were expecting it. And so they had to make room somehow. Like I said before, housing and parking are big problems here in Rexburg. It's not like we have a parking garage, but those are just big problems. Now, I'm like, okay, what's done is done. I didn't want to move, but I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take this as an opportunity to make more new friends or something, I'll just have to live somewhere else for my last 2 semesters, which is perfectly fine. I'm like, okay, I'll do that, whatever. So I moved to community housing. It was really, really hard to find an apartment, but I lucked out I think it was on Facebook or something. Some random guy I didn't know was rooming with 2 other guys, and they needed a 4th. And I'm like, oh, well, you seem chill. I found them and I was able to get in. Now I am living in an apartment complex that's up near the Rexburg Temple. So it's on that corner, like the top right corner of campus or so. Like up the hill and everything. So it's like, okay, it's all downhill from here. But that's where I'm living. So I'm living there. The problem I'm having, and I found out, kind of late, but I found out within good enough time that I do have to take 1 class this semester, which I really just wanted to do my internship, but I had 1 more class that was a prerequisite to one of my final classes. And so I'm like, okay, well, I have to do that too. Now the problem, so I live up near the temple at the top of the hill in Rexburg. Yes, everything's downhill, but it's also like far away from everything else. My class is in the Spory building, which is like, it's on the other side of campus. And campus, if I were to walk from one side of the campus to another, it would probably take maybe 15 or so minutes, somewhere around there. I also, the more important thing was my internship, because my internship, it's not in town, it's on the outskirts. It's actually near Walmart. If I cut across a field, I can walk to Walmart in about maybe 10 minutes from work, from my internship. I'm just going to say work now. So that's where things are located. This is a very far distance, since it's on the outskirts of like what is considered Rexburg. So it's like, there's a few businesses like here, like here's Rexburg. There's some businesses here, and it just kind of goes along this main road. And I'll put something up on screen. But yeah, then it's like way over here. So up near Walmart, which is like pretty far away. Like you need a car. Like I wouldn't walk that whole thing. It's multiple miles. So I'm like, okay, I need some sort of transportation. Now, I mentioned before how parking is an issue here. I don't have a car here. I never brought a car, and my reasoning was, hey, there's a lot of people here who already have cars. I can get rides with them. I can pay them gas money, whatever. And if all else fails, I can get an Uber, it's like the odds of me being in an apartment with a few other guys and someone in there, at least one person having a car, pretty good odds. It's probably going to be more than one person. And that's been the case for most every semester. Especially, I'm roommates with these people, or I have a good friend or something like that, I can get rides. Now for my internship, I was thinking, okay, well, if I can get there like if I can get there, then I can see who else has my shift, and maybe we could carpool or something like that. I'm thinking, okay, we'll set this up. This is what I've been doing, my whole time here. Um, so I also I needed my own means of transportation, just in case, right? If I can't get a ride or something, or like just for me to be mobile. So I decided to invest in purchasing an electronic bike, so an e-bike. I charge it. It's got this battery that comes out. I charge it, and I've got power. I've got enough power to make it wherever I need to go in Rexburg or on the outskirts or whatever. Haven't had any problems with that charge. It's been great. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to get an e-bike. I haven't ridden bikes since I was like probably 12, and I'm in my, like, I'm getting closer to the later 20s. So I'm like, yeah. But I'm like, okay, well, let's see. E-bike, that'll make it easier, especially with it being such a long way. Where should I get it, though? So I did a little bit of research, and I ended up purchasing one on Amazon. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was logged into my mom's account. We both have Amazon accounts. She used to use mine all the time. So because as a student, I get some good benefits and things. And I thought I was logged into mine, but I guess it swapped back to hers or something. And because she uses her own now. So I accidentally bought on her account, paid her back. That's all fine, understandable. But it was technically purchased by her, so it's her account information that's connected to it. That's fine. I don't see anything. Like, I looked at the reviews. I looked into, some things, and it's like, okay, this bike seems fine. So I purchased this bike on Amazon, and I found out what my address was going to be, and I had it shipped there. And this is a bike I'm going to need to put together. Thankfully, they gave me tools for it, which is just awesome. And so, yeah, I did also know that, you might be shouting, wait, but this is winter semester. What about when it snows? I mean, you said that Rexburg is berg, it's like half of iceberg. So, yeah, what about when it snows? It's not a good idea to bike on ice. And I agree. So I was figuring, though, that by the time, like, it actually snows and stuff, I would have a ride situation figured out, whether it's through a church friend or like multiple people, whatever. I'll have something figured out. I always do. Now, this is the first time I don't. It turns out the people in my apartment, two of them have cars, but they're also both not normally here, which I probably should have thought about that, seen that coming, but that's okay. I got my bike, and I can, once I get to my to church, and once I get to class, and once I get to my internship, I can find people at those locations that can give me rides. Right, it's like that's been a thing here, so it's like, okay, that's fine. I'll figure that out. I can pay them gas money, whatever. They can make a few bucks off me, that's fine, because I just need to get places. So it turns out, though, that with how the internship works, since I'm a shift lead, when I started, no one else had my same shift. I mean, like for the first few weeks, we were all pretty much on the same shift, but I found out pretty quick that eventually when, like, it gets back to, like, normal, like, so when we're actually doing our own times, I mean, my time never changed, but, when we're doing, I'm an intern, so whatever, but when things pick up, like when people start like getting more holiday cards and stuff like that, or ordering more, and we have to make more and we get more people, and I'll actually be doing my job, which is, like training and helping the people that are working the machines. Once we get to that point, like I mean, like, I didn't have anyone to ask because no one else was going to have my same shift. And so as we got employees, I would ask, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" And I kind of talk to them on the way and be like, "Hey, I don't know if you could do this every week or whatever." And it didn't really end up working out. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I got my bike. I can ride until it snows. Then maybe I could take Uber or something. That wasn't really what I wanted to do, but whatever. I'll figure something out. Hopefully, I'll still be able to. Maybe I'll find or make a carpool thing. I don't know. And I was just looking for different things. Now, let's explain my bike situation. So, my bike is it's a good bike. I enjoyed it. I liked it. But you know how I said I have some personal struggles and things. One of those was, I haven't been good at time management. I am becoming someone better at time management, but for a while I haven't been. And so I was I rode my bike to Walmart um because I'm like, oh crap, I need groceries. And this was on like a Saturday night or something. I rode my bike up to Walmart. I've also gotten like a crate that I zip tied onto the back of my bike, which it's firm and it works. I've been riding this bike the first few weeks of the semester because I had time since my internship hadn't started yet. So I had time to practice the bike and get back into it, and I felt confident. Now, let's see. So, and I'll put the dates up on the screen or something, but in in September, that's when school started. I got my bike. I put it together. I rode it around first few weeks. Then my internship started, and a little ways into my internship, this is when I was, it was a Saturday. I was off. I needed to go to Walmart. So I went and picked up groceries, and I remember my dad telling me stories from when he was a missionary. When he got like groceries and stuff, like they balance it on the handlebars. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that because that could be a disaster, especially if like a bag broke or something. So I figured a way that I could use my jacket and my backpack and really secure everything inside of the crate and on top of it, but like keep it really secure. I like tied it was smart. Worked smarter, not harder, right? So I tied that all onto the back of my bike. I tied it down, it was firm. So I start riding. Now it's dark. And it was going to be darker later because of daylight savings, which I completely didn't think about, and that's been causing some more problems for me, but doesn't matter here. It's pretty dark because I went pretty late, and I came or I was riding, and I'm riding on the sidewalk next to the highway because I wanted to be on going home, going towards home. I wanted to be on the left side because that left side is where my apartment complex was. So I'm like, okay, I'm not on the road, so I'm not on the wrong side of the road, but I'm on the sidewalk. Now or it was either, yeah, I think it was the sidewalk, and then there's parts of the sidewalk that doesn't. Also my bike does have a light on it, so that's good. Um, there are parts of the sidewalk that aren't there or aren't complete and all that. And so I was trying to be careful, but I also wanted to get home because it was cold. I didn't have my jacket on. So I'm like, okay, and trying to get everything home in good time. So I'm riding pretty fast, probably the fastest I've ridden or I don't know about that, but I'm riding pretty fast. And suddenly, next thing I know, I'm on the ground and I'm on my side and the bike is like on me. Um, and it was like when I was kind of turning, not real turning like a full corner, but like the sidewalk kind of went like that, like that. or something, or the path that I was taking. And so, but I guess somehow I lost balance because my bike was like, it was pretty heavy because of all the groceries. And it threw off my balance somehow, and I fell and slid. I didn't really like crash into anything, but I fell onto my side with the bike and I slid and scraped myself up, hurt my side. I was worried for a while. I think I tore some muscles or something, and so it was really hard to like, it's like after the adrenaline wore off, like, I ached for like a couple months after that, at least, or many, many weeks. I was worried that I had broken something like a rib or whatever. My hand was all scraped up. I had literally just barely bought fingerless gloves. And I'm like, oh, I'll try it out now. And I'm so glad I did. It scraped up the gloves, but it protected my hands quite a bit. Yeah, so it sucked. My friend came and picked me up. I didn't notice it then, but when I looked at the bike the next morning, I noticed that the left brake handle, so when you're sitting on it, your left hand, that brake handle, I don't know, it was like wasn't working right or something, and it actually broke off. Um, and so I'm like, okay, well, and because I was trying to see, like, after a day or two, I'm like, okay, I got to see if I could still ride my bike and stuff. It seemed to be working fine after I got up, or like I think I moved the brake handle a little bit, and then it was fine. But I'm like, okay, whatever. Turns out when the bike fell onto the asphalt, because it wasn't quite on the sidewalk because the sidewalk wasn't at the point that I was at when I fell. It a lot of the brake handle absorbed a lot of the impact, and it broke that brake handle. And apparently there's this little button, because I couldn't get the bike to start that next morning or two. I could not get the bike to go, and I wasn't sure why. I'm like, did I like bust it? Like, did I break a circuit board? I don't know. I don't know what I did. I fell really hard, and next thing I knew, I was on the ground, and hurting, but yeah, it turns out there's a little button inside of the handle of the bike, that the brake handle, when it's there, it's constantly pressing down this button. And that tells the bike that, hey, I have brakes. I can run perfectly fine right now. So I'm like, okay, great. So once I figured that out, I just got a piece of cardboard and some plastic or something, and I taped it in there to hold the button down, because this was the front brake that had broken, not the back brake. Which if it were reversed, and I still needed to use this bike to get to school. Also, at this point, I had a problem before that I contacted support about, which was my seat was like really loose. Like, I don't know. I think it was some design flaw or something, where it will, I'm riding and it will easily just tilt forward or backwards, which is very jarring when you're riding a bike and then suddenly your seat changes angles and you're, whoa, or it goes back or whatever when you go on a bump. So that, that was something that I needed to, I'm like, okay, can I get like a new, oh, and it was also like part of the mechanism, like, because the battery's right, I'll show pictures. The battery is right behind the seat pole, which normally seat poles, like the part that holds the seat on bikes, are pretty standard. But because this one had a custom thing where the seat like would flip forward, I think it flipped forward. Well, it would flip so that you can put the battery, or take out the battery, put it in easily. It's a nice design and really efficient, works well. But the problem is like that it doesn't use a standard pole. It uses a pole that has this little bit built into it. So, like, which is for the hinge. And so, I needed a new seat pole. Because like the way that I figure is like, I could keep tightening the little brackets on there, but eventually it gets too loose. And I guess I had really worn out the bracket somehow, even though I had only had the bike for a few weeks. And I'm like, I wasn't like, I don't know how it got worn out so much, but okay, well, since these are welded in, I'm gonna need a new seat pull. And thankfully, the bike has a 1 year warranty. So I'm like, okay, great. So I emailed manufacturers because I couldn't find a phone number or anything like that. I could find an email, and after a bit of digging, and so I emailed them, and I gotten that request started for a new seat pull. And this is where things started happening. So I'm going to preface with I am a communication major. The reason I got into communication is because, I've it's been a constant thing in my life where, communication is very, very important. I am autistic, and I have struggled with social skills in the past. Communication sometimes is still a problem for me. But because of that, I've always tried to be very clear and concise, or I don't know about concise, but I've always tried to be really clear and use my words as accurately as possible so that there's not much miscommunication that can happen. And part of this goes into, all our other things of my life I'm not going to talk about right now. So I want to communicate effectively, efficiently, and accurately, which, makes sense for troubleshooting and things like that, which is what I do a lot of. So I'm talking to them. Then this crash happens, right? Because that was before the crash. I'm calling it the crash, but it was a fall. It wasn't. I didn't crash into anything. My bike lost balance and I fell and slid. And yeah, I might be able to find pictures of that, but I don't know if I'll post them here. But anyway, I so I so I let them know, hey, also, there's that seat thing. Yes, I need like a new seat pull, but then there's also this thing, or I crashed my bike, or I don't remember how I said it, but I tried to be not like, oh yeah, I totaled my bike. I don't want them to worry, and I don't want it to be a big deal. I'm like, oh yeah, so I also need a new brake handle. It's on the left side, the left brake. And thinking, okay, yeah, they can just send that with it. It's all, maybe they'll ask some more questions. And this began the, pardon my French, but the hell of communicating with them. It turns out, and this is to the best of my knowledge now, I guess the company is located in China or something. Um, and they go through Amazon, and English is definitely not their first language. And so I'm someone, I've worked in customer service. I've worked on phones. I try and be a very patient person and try and be really understanding. That's what I think is the right thing to do, is to be kind. And so, I try and be patient. And I'm like, just like, no, actually, this was the problem. Da 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 da. I try and explain it in a good way, using different wording, whatever. I'm trying to make sure that they can understand what the problem is. They asked me to send, let's see, they had asked me to send different things like the frame number and stuff, which is like indented on the side of the bike. I'm like, okay, I did that. I sent it from multiple angles, just trying to be helpful. I sent them pictures of the bike, a picture clearly showing the brake handle. Right, I'll show it on the screen here. The brake handle is here, and it should be here, and it should be connected. So I sent them stuff like that. I tried to explain the seat best I could, and multiple times. But something I noticed was, it's like I'd send them an email. I'd get an email or two in response, like talking about that thing. And then, not quite like an AI, but they would end up asking for the same information again. And I was a bit confused by that. I'm like, well, I already sent it. It's in a previous email. but I guess here it is again. So I sent it to them again. It's like straight in the email, and like whatever video I'm doing showing the problem. Meanwhile, during all this is like I could do maybe like a message or two, an email or two a day, and it's I could do an email or two a day, and it's like then I'd hear back from them the next morning, or maybe that weekend or whatever. And I still need to get to class. I still need to get to work. So I'm getting rides where I can, but that's not really something very feasible with my predicament here. And just this semester, I guess, or I don't know, just being in community housing is different. But because I was in student housing before, but I'm trying to do everything I can. I end up having to start getting Uber. Now there are a few people here that run Uber here in Rexburg. Not too many, but there's a few. And now, oh right, so I had fixed my bike a little bit, at least with the button thing, right? Then I ride it for almost a month. And this is during the communications, like, okay, well, here, this is the stuff for my, for the handle, all that. So I'm riding it for almost a month. And then suddenly, halfway on the way home from work, which is uphill, the motor just stops working in the bike. I had gotten the bike to work by having that button pressed down. And so I'm thinking, oh, maybe the button, because like it just wouldn't go if the button isn't pressed down, which I guess is like a security feature, but whatever. I'm like, okay, is it not pressed down all the way? I actually pulled off to the side. I'm riding in the street. When this happened, so it was very dangerous. The motor suddenly just stops while I'm in the street. I'm like, and you might think, well, it's a bike. The motor just helps. Yes, but it's also kind of hard, at least on this bike, it's kind of hard to like pedal when it has a motor. It like doesn't want to go. Or it's just really tough. And so I was able to get to like a street corner and at a light, and I take the tape off, and I've kept stuff in my backpack. I keep all the bike tools in my backpack. I mean, I've invested in this bike. I actually bought a new seat and had to kind of jerry rig it, but I was able to get it on there so that it wasn't so like hard and uncomfortable. I got a bike pump. I got like a compact one. I got gloves. I mean, I have bought a lot for this bike already, and I've invested into it. I mean, it was pretty expensive when I bought it, but like, this was the best for my price. And, I'm also, I'm trying to make it work, and I'm trying to enjoy it. And I was beginning to enjoy it, which is a good thing to do in life, is to enjoy the things that you have to do. So I make sure it's on the button. I turn it off and on. I do everything I can think of. The bike motor, like the bike would like turn on and act like it's ready, but it just wouldn't go. And I don't know why. And so I walk it the rest of the way home. I email about, I've been keeping this correspondence with the manufacturers, about the parts that I need. I don't know why it's been taking so long, but and then there was like, they said, oh, okay, we sent the parts. You should receive them in 7 to 10 working days, not business days, working days, because English isn't the first language. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I wait, and I don't receive it. I wait longer than I thought I should, but I waited just to make sure. I checked the mailbox, nothing. There's no package. I look and see if there's a key to one of the bigger mailboxes, for packages and stuff. Nothing. I ask my landlord, and the front office or whatever, and they don't have any mail with my name on it, which is a problem. Thankfully, though, one of my roommates, he had ordered something from Hot Topic. Hey, fair enough. He ordered something from Hot Topic, and he had a problem where like it like, he had some problem where, like, I don't know if it like it was put in the wrong mailbox or something here or something, and he actually had to talk to, I think it was like FedEx or some one, not the postal service, but like one of those, FedEx or UPS, or I think it was UPS. He had to talk to them, and then he was able to get his package. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's something like that. So I let them know that that might be the case, and I'm trying to figure out what, because I think he had to go, and my roommate had to go and contact Hot Topic, and that was how he could start the process to get it, to figure out where it went and get it back, or get it actually to him. And that took maybe a week or two, I think. I don't know. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I mean, I make my bike work at this point. And so because this was during the month, or in between the crash and everything, or after the crash. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can wait a bit. So I'm waiting for those parts. I'm not receiving them. Still figuring out that stuff when my bike, the motor stops halfway home. I have to walk it uphill home, and then I email them. I assume I would have done immediately, but I don't remember. But I email them as soon as I can, and say, hey, I know that you guys were going to send me this stuff, but here is a more important and urgent issue. My bike won't go, and they kind of help troubleshoot a little bit, over time. This is when I start taking Ubers, and then eventually they start asking me for the same information again, or like they don't respond or something. Also, whenever like they would send something out, typically a company sends the tracking number, right, or the order number, or some way to track the package, the shipment, because people like to watch. They said, okay, so it should be sent soon, within the next, and then please remind me in the next 3 days to give you the tracking number. I'm like, that's weird, but okay, I guess. And so I did that. And I'm like, that's not very professional, but okay, whatever. So I did that, and that, and then I tracked it, and it wasn't here. Or it said it arrived, but I never got it, and that it took way too long, like multiple weeks, to get it to, I guess, go back somewhere. It ends up in California, and then I guess in some facility or whatever, and this is like, this is way later, but anyway, it's like so that they could resend it, whatever. It is what it is. But anyway, so during all that, I'm like, oh, also, my bike stopped working, and so we try and troubleshoot it, like I said, and I send them a video, and then a few emails later, they ask me to send a video again, and I'm like, I already sent you the video that shows the problem. What more do you need? But I'm like, okay, well, but I'm, during all this, it's like I'm working, I'm doing school, I'm, going through my own stuff, going through life, just, I have a life. And, so I finally get back to them, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll just send them another video. So I go and send another video. And then they tell me, hey, you need, we can't, what was it? It's like, we can't access that link, because like my email had to send it as like a Outlook link, because it was too big to send as an email. I'm like, wait, but I did that last time too, and you were able to access it fine. Well, anyway, here is the link again, and then I guess it was fine after that, because I don't think they mentioned it again, but I guess they saw the video, and they're like, okay, it looks like you need this, and they I don't remember the whole order of what they said I need or whatever, but whatever I said must be wrong, or they just ignored, because I would say, I don't think so, because of this and this and this. I troubleshoot. That's what I do. But I'm like, maybe there's something I don't know. So I'm like, okay, you could send that, but I don't think it's going to work, or whatever. And I guess my guess is there was multiple agents that were working my case, but there was no communication done at all. Which, as a communications major, I understand how important that is. So I am restating information. I am going through all this stuff, and this is going on for months now, or at least a month by this point, or I guess more, because it had been a month that I had been writing it before it stopped. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need this pronto. Like, I need a solution. Days are going by during this, after I let them know it stopped, and it's not working. And so I'm buying Uber every day because that's what I've got to do, and because I can't get rides from people, and that money is racking up. I'm a college student. I came here for multiple reasons, one of them being tuition is cheap. I'm rooming with 3 other people because we can split the rent. I'm trying to save money, especially because I've been here every semester since I started. And, it's most of the year, every year for a few years. And I've missed out on something. Like, I'm working hard. I'm here to learn. I'm doing what I can. And yes, I'm struggling, and, I've got my own things, but I'm sometimes I'm just in survival mode, but I've got a lot I have to worry about. I shouldn't have to worry about all this. And so I'm letting them know, and every day I have to pay Uber at least twice to get to work and back because it's so far away. And so the money starts racking up. I've been blessed with this internship that I wasn't expecting it to be paid, and they have been paying me, which is so nice, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. So thankfully this isn't setting me behind too much, but like, that money should be savings money. What money am I going to have after college when I've been paying for a lot of it, and then with whatever scholarships or grants or tuition stuff, whatever I can get. I'm trying to do this without a loan, and I had to take out a loan a semester or 2 ago. So I'm trying to make things work. And now I have to buy an Uber every single time because these people are being, frankly, incompetent. I think I'm justified in saying that because I'm telling them things, and then they understand, and then it's like they just forget. Or they want to do things their own way. I keep telling them, like, okay, this isn't the problem. The seat is not the problem. I need the motor to work. The seat is not the problem. And they keep going back to the seat. For some reason, they keep going back to the seat. I'm like, screw the seat. I don't care. I've been making it work. I bought a whole new seat. It's fine. I can deal with it now because I've gotten used to it. Like, I need this to work. The battery's fine. I've checked that. At one point, I saw what I thought was a fuse box on the bike, and I unscrewed it a bit and looked at it. I didn't get into it to break anything, but I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is not a fuse box. This is just where all the wires go, whatever, and so I sealed that back up. I didn't cause damage to anything, and I've looked at it, and it's got like, it eventually started giving like some error message on the screen, which it's hard to infer, and I've been communicating everything with them, and I've been trying to not communicate too much, like to overwhelm them or something, or to confuse them, but I'm giving them all the information they ask, and just straight up the information they ask, not too much more, and no less, and it's been, let's see. So the crash was on September 27th, and it is now December 8th. Yeah, so it's been a while. My bike, and that was a crash. If we go to the date that the motor stopped, that was October 22nd. October, November, December. It's been like 2 months. that I haven't been able to ride my bike. And then the worst thing happened. Maybe not the worst thing, but a bad thing happened. It started to snow. I've been in the understanding for a while that once it starts to snow, I can't ride my bike anymore. So now my bike's sitting there. I can't ride it if I wanted. And it's, I at this point in Uber fees, I think I've paid more than I paid for the bike. And I'm not even counting all the accessories, stuff that I needed, like the crate that I got for it, the gloves, the helmet, the new seat. I actually bought 2 new seats, and I've still been trying to return one, but I keep forgetting. I've invested a lot in this bike, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm talking to Amazon. I'm pulling the card. I'm calling mom. It's like I'm going to talk to your mom because I can't talk to you. I can't get anything done through you, so I'm going to talk to the authority figure, mom. So I go and call Amazon. And I had called them. Yeah, so I called them, and because it's on my mom's account, they need my mom to verify it over the call. My mom wasn't available at that moment. I had a really great representative, but my mom wasn't available at the moment. And so I'm like, I guess I'll just have to call back. And so I did that. So I'm like, okay, about a week later, I get another opportunity. And I call, with my mom, and my mom's like, my mom's in Texas because I'm in Idaho. And so we're not right next to each other, but I text her. I'm like, hey, send me the code. She sends it. And so I'm like, okay. But now I'm with a different Amazon employee because this is a week later. And she seems very eager to help. And I've been in call centers. I understand how things work over there. Not completely. I don't know all the things for Amazon specifically. But I know good repertoire. And I'm not trying to be a hard customer. I'm just like, okay, well, here's my problem. And I'm calling them for advice. Like, I don't know what to do. Because I've tried to work with them. I can't work with them. What should I do? And she kind of, I guess, leads me through. And she's like, okay, so you can return it and get your money back. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess we'll do that. And so she kind of does it. She's not really paying attention to my side of the story because I had explained a lot. I had to explain a lot of this to her so that she understands where I'm at because I was getting advice. So she processes it as a return and says, they'll reach out to you. And I'm like, oh, no, they won't. No, or even if they do, it's not going to go anywhere. But at this point, she's just kind of like, okay, yeah, you're good. Is anything else I can help you with? I'm like, you haven't helped me. You haven't helped my problem because communication with them is the problem. But it's like, okay, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, returning it actually is a good idea because if I can return it, then, I at least get my money back, which was like half of the semester of Uber fees. I'll have to keep using Uber, but hey, at least I'll get some money back. And I'll be rid of this bike that doesn't work. And then I got an email today. So I let them, I waited a few days, right? And I told my mom, okay, you're probably going to get an email because it's attached to your account, She never got an email. She checked her junk, spam, whatever. Never got an email or anything or a call or whatever from them. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just do it. Because I've been in communication with them. And I let them know, and it's like, okay, Amazon advised me to return it. And, here's my mom's email because it's probably going to come from there. I'm doing my due diligence with everything here. And then I got the email today. And the email said that I've used it for 3 months. And so it's got wear marks on it. And so I cannot return it. I have not used it for 3 months because for the past, I don't even know how long, at least a month or two, I haven't been able to write it. It's been sitting under a roof and stuff, like covered in a covered area, so it's been safe for a while. Let's see. I couldn't write it since October 22nd. So November, December, 2 months or so, or maybe a month and a little bit. It's been fine. I haven't been writing it for 3 months. But, oh, and also, there were a couple times in the whole email chain. I mean, it's long enough that, like, I had to email half of it to myself because Outlook just was like, okay, well, this is too long ago. I'm just going to truncate it or make it harder to access or whatever. But there were multiple times where, I would be emailing them, they'd email me back or whatever, or I would now be waiting on them to hear back, and then they'd send me an email in the same email chain saying, congratulations, you're a lucky customer. If you leave a good review, then you'll get this in like a week or two. And I'm like, you want me to leave a good review? I didn't say anything in response to those. But I'm just like, if I leave a review, it's not going to be good. I'm not planning to leave a review. But now, after everything, I might. Or I might just post this video to YouTube. It'd be nice if I edited it down. I don't even know if I'm going to edit it, to be honest, because I'm just so done. Like, I'm just so done. I'm hoping somehow this gets popular enough that they can see, yeah, sorry, my bad, because no matter how many times, however I say things, they just don't get it. And I think that's because they don't want to get it. Now, I'm not a mean person. Sometimes I have really evil thoughts because I think they're funny or something, but I am too nice to act on them most of the time. And I put a lot of thought like, okay, what should I make a video about this? Because I've been done with it so many times. And I'm just tired. Here, I'll at least tell you what the bike is called. It's URLIFE. That's the brand. UR is like the letter U, then the letter R, and then life. That's the brand, URLIFE. It's an e-bike. It was great until I had to communicate with the manufacturers. It's still not resolved. I will add in how much money I have lost through Uber up till around when what's the word? When it started to snow, because I'm not going to count after it snowed because I wouldn't be riding the bike, but I'll put the either here or in the description or something. I will write the monetary amount that I've lost due to this, and it's at least over the price of the bike. And that was like a couple weeks ago when I did that math. So I got to do more math and put it in here, but it's bad. Well, anyway, this recording before editing right now, it's like 54 minutes long. I don't know. I might just upload this and whatever, but I'm tired. And the moral of the story is don't buy e-bikes on Amazon. Even if it looks like it's fine, just go get a local bike somewhere, because then you can get parts for it easy. Then you've got people who know it, like from the bike shop you purchased it from, and you will just have a better life because you won't have the stress of that looming over everything while you're trying to do classes, get your act together on, all your own personal issues, working against depression, and then also working like an 8-hour shift every day or so, eight or so because of my class, but at least 40 hours a week, pretty much, or around whatever, minus a couple hours, so maybe 38, unless you're working a weekend, which now we are. Um, yeah, just go get a local bike, and I hope something good comes out of this video. Thanks. Bye.